Hi, this is Annie Lupton of Boho Chic Fiber Co. Today I'm going to demonstrate how to do a Picot hemline. This way to end a sweater edge or hat is an alternative to working a ribbed edging. And as you can see is when I stretch it here, it gives a little Picot edge. So it's a little like divots as you go around. And it's a really simple technique to learn, and you're actually knitting to this point, you're creating the edging, and then you're going to continue knitting so that you have a thicker hemline, and that'll be seamed on the inside. So this is a really fun way to add a little bit of a feminine flair or just a different look to a sweater if you have one with a ribbed edge and you're not into the way that looks. And this example is on my Heartbeat sweater. So what you're going to need for this today is just some stitches make sure you have a little bit worked already in stockinette. I'm just doing mine on DPNs today, flat. You can also do this in the round. And then you're also going to need some scissors and a darning needle for when we seam it to the inside. So what you're going to do is you're just going to work to the point where your pattern says, or give yourself a little bit of an edge here. To do the Picot hem, it's very simple. All you need to do is the first two stitches you're going to knit two together and then yarn over all the way across or around your work. That's it. So knit two together, yarn over all the way. So this will create that edging, and our stitch count will remain consistent because we're decreasing and then also increasing, so it should be consistent. So if you're working in the round, the next row you're just going to knit, and if you're working flat like I am, you'll turn your work. And to stay in stockinette stitch, we're going to purl our stitches. So we're purling into the knit two together and into the yarn overs all the way across. So when you're done with that row, you'll see it just looks like an eyelet row at this point. And then what we're going to do, you're going to want to work to, I usually like to give myself at least an inch or two because it's going to fold over. You don't want it too short because then it won't lay flat. So I'm going to work two more rows in stockinette, and then I'll bind off and I'll show you what the next step of this is. It looks like I missed this yarn over here, so I'm going to pick that up and work into that to not mess up the pattern. And do one more round. So again, like I said, I usually like to give myself at least an inch or two here on this after the eyelet row, but just to save time for the video, I'm going to bind off my stitches now so I can show you how to do that seaming on the inside. It's really simple. And this is also nice because it gives you a thicker edging for that hemline. So if you're someone who tends to stretch out or wear the edges of your sweaters, this is a nice way to give it a little bit more durability in those areas. And it's just a pretty looking edging as well. Okay, so once you're at the point where you've bound off all your stitches, you're going to snip your yarn, but give yourself some extra length because we're going to use it for seaming. So we snip our yarn and pull it through that last stitch. And then what we're going to do is just seam it to the inside. So here's what your piece will look like. Now when you fold this over evenly, you see that little Picot edging now? You have the little bumps all along your edge here. So now what we're going to do is pick up the end of that yarn and thread it onto our darning needle. And we're just going to do like a little whip stitch all the way across to secure the inside edge. The only thing you want to be careful of here is that you don't pull this too far up. You really want to make sure it lays really nice and flat, and if anything, push it a little bit up so that you can really, from the front side, you'll be able to see those curves nicely. So what you're going to do, once you've gotten it nice and flat, is just pick up a little loop from the main side of your fabric, and I like to insert it just into the back loop of the bind off. You could probably do the whole thing. I think it just lays a little flatter if you just use the back loop. And you're just going to do that all the way around. So pick up a loop from below on the main fabric, insert it into the back loop of the bind off, and just do that around gently. Again, always making sure that this is laying flat so that you'll be able to see it afterwards from the front. It's as simple as that. You're just going to seam this on the edge here. Pick up a loop in through that back loop all the way around. You just want to make sure that you're not tugging too tight as you're doing this because you don't want to create any bunches in the fabric. So just a nice even tension as you work. So we'll stop there. So as you can see, when you're finished, it'll just look like a little thicker on the edge, and then this is the rest of your fabric here. And it should be seamed as straight as you can do it. It's not too tricky. And then on the right side, there you see, there's your edge. And like I said, it's better to do it a little bit thicker, but when you first work it, it may kind of stick up a little bit, but if you block it, when you're blocking, just make sure you pin that edge down nicely, and it should lay pretty flat once you're done blocking it. So that's how you do a Picot edging. I hope that you found that tutorial helpful. And if you have any other questions, feel free to leave me a comment below. And if you have any suggestions for other tutorials you'd be interested in learning, you can leave me a message below as well, or you can send me an email. Thanks. Have a good day.